After 7 years with Ethan, he said he was bored and turned to a younger, more tender girl. This time, I didn't make a scene. I threw away the engagement ring and cut up the wedding dress I had just bought. Late that night, I boarded a flight and left New York City. His friends placed bets on how long it would take me to crawl back and beg him. Ethan laughed coldly. She'll be crying and begging me to take her back in less than 3 days. But 3 days turned into another 3, and I remained completely incommunicado. Ethan couldn't sit still any longer. For the first time, he called me himself. Claire, you've made your point, come back. But from the other end of the line came a man's low chuckle. Mr. Ethan, you can't wait till the next day to sweet-talk a girl, otherwise, someone else will snatch her up. Ethan's eyes were bloodshot, his voice tight with rage. Let Claire take the phone. Ryan leaned down and kissed me. She can't take it, she's still out cold. I'll have to kiss her awake first. It was the 7th year of being with Ethan. I had secretly bought a wedding dress and was gathering the courage to propose to him. But unfortunately, I was a few minutes late to the party that day. I happened to overhear him talking to his friends. Claire, you ask? I got tired of her a long time ago. Ethan lit a cigarette, a casual smile on his face. 7 years. Wouldn't you get bored? The others laughed along. He's right. 7 years, even a goddess would become bland. Claire is really beautiful, though. And great figure. Last time for Ethan's birthday, she wore that dress that looked like a stepmother's. Every guy there couldn't take his eyes off her. Seriously, Ethan, you were so crazy about her back then. Are you really ready to let go now? Ethan's voice was indifferent. When have I ever lied? So, if I went after Claire, you wouldn't mind? Go for it. Ethan blew out a smoke ring indifferently. As long as you guys aren't grossed out. Seriously? Aren't you embarrassed? You'd pick up someone Ethan is already bored with? Another round of laughter. That night, I didn't go into the private room. I found an excuse, said I had a headache, and went home early. Ethan didn't ask a single question before hanging up the phone. The decision to break up was probably made definitively that night. Within 2 days, the social circle was buzzing. Ethan was reportedly pursuing a sophomore from a performing arts school, someone young, tender, and innocent. His methods for pursuing someone were always shockingly extravagant. Just like when he pursued me back then, he wanted to announce it to the world, lavishing them with apartments, cars, and jewelry on a whim. That young girl had never seen anything like it and fell for him within a couple of days. At a gathering arranged by friends, Ethan brought her along directly. The moment they walked in, everyone fell silent. A few girls I was friendly with looked at me with concern. I smiled. Why is everyone so quiet? What are you looking at me for? Ethan put his arm around the girl and sat down, then finally looked at me directly. Claire, this is a good opportunity, so I'll be upfront. Okay, go ahead. These years of on and off have been pointless. The feelings faded a long time ago. I clenched my hands tightly, the ring on my middle finger digging deep into my skin, but I couldn't feel the pain. Madison is young and simple. I genuinely like her and don't want to shortchange her. Ethan stroked the girl's hair. I need to give her a proper status. I nodded slightly. Okay, I understand. We can still be friends in the future. If you have any difficulties, you can always find me. As long as you're in New York City, I'll still take care of things for you. No, thanks. I smiled lightly and stood up. Since we're breaking up, let's make it clear, so the girl doesn't misunderstand. Ethan raised an eyebrow slightly in surprise, then said after a moment, that's true. All right, you guys enjoy the party. I'll head back first. Want me to have a driver take you? No need, I'll grab a taxi. As I walked out of the room and closed the door behind me, I heard someone ask, how long do you think Claire will hold out this time? 2 days? She seems really upset this time. I'll bet a week. Ethan glanced at the door, which hadn't closed completely, and smiled coldly. She'll be crying in back in less than 3 days. It's always been like this for so many years, it's getting tiresome to watch. True, how could Claire leave you? Everyone knows she's crazy in love with you. I gave a self-deprecating smile, gripped my clutch bag, and walked quickly towards the elevator. Back at the apartment, I went to the corner of the walk-in closet and took out the wedding dress. I had waited for it for half a year, only to get it, but unfortunately, I would never have a chance to wear it. The dress was custom-made, so I couldn't return it. I simply found a pair of scissors and cut it up. After all, leaving it here would only be an eyesore for Ethan. When I finally left, I took off the ring and left it on the coffee table. I didn't take many things. Apart from personal items, I didn't want anything else. After some thought, I also left Ethan a note, telling him he could do whatever he wanted with the apartment and everything in it, without asking me. I booked a flight for Coast Harbor for early the next morning. My best friend had moved there before the new year after getting married, so I decided to go visit her and clear my head. My best friend suggested we go shopping and have afternoon tea. In the evening, there was a small gathering, mostly former classmates and old friends. After a few rounds of drinks, someone else pushed the door open and came in. A few female classmates' eyes immediately lit up. Ryan? You're a rare sight. Yeah, Ryan, what brings you here? Tonight? Just finished up some business nearby. Heard old friends were gathering, so I came to join in the fun. As Ryan spoke, his gaze paused somewhere for a moment before slowly moving away. My best friend nudged me quietly. Claire, is Ryan here for you? My eyes were blurry with alcohol as I looked at the man. He was a bit taller than Ethan, wearing a black coat over a business suit in the same color scheme. His features were very handsome, his physique was well built, and his legs were incredibly long. I squinted for a while, then withdrew my gaze and shook my head. Probably not, we haven't been in touch for years. My best friend ignored me and called out directly to Ryan. Ryan, would you mind giving Claire a ride home later? We've all been drinking, and I'm worried about her taking a ride-sharing service. I looked up at Ryan in surprise. Ryan's gaze also swept over the crowd and landed on my face. After about 2 seconds, I saw him nod. Okay. Thanks, Ryan. My best friend smiled and sat down, leaning in to whisper in my ear. Claire, sleeping with one man for 7 years doesn't seem like a good deal. Ethan can be unfaithful and mess around. Why can't you start a second spring? Besides, a catch like Ryan, you shouldn't pass up the chance to sleep with him. How do you know he'll sleep with me? The way he's looking at you, darling, he's practically undressing you with his eyes. Trust me, I've dated 18 guys, I have more experience than you. Ryan drove me back to the hotel. When we arrived at the hotel entrance, I unbuckled my seatbelt, thanking him. Thank you for driving me back tonight. Ryan turned his head to look at me. You're welcome. As I pushed open the car door to get out, I suddenly remembered the things Ethan had said that day. On a whim, I blurted out, want to come up for a cup of tea? Ryan kissed me in the elevator. I was already drunk, and with his aggressive, dominant kisses, I almost suffocated. There's a camera. I panted, my cheeks flushed, my legs so weak I could barely stand, clutching tightly onto his waist. Ryan glanced at the camera, then turned around, changing his angle, and kissed me again. As he swiped open the hotel room door, he suddenly stopped me. Claire, if you regret this now, I can still stop. Regret what? I tilted my head back to look at him, my fingers tracing his tie, pulling him closer. You've already swollen my lips with kissing, and now you're saying stop. Ryan suddenly laughed. He reached out, his thumb brushing against my slightly swollen lips. Then even if you regret it later, it'll be too late. Our first time, Ryan didn't even wait until we got to the bedroom. My back hurt a little from being pressed against the wall, and I couldn't help but bite him tearfully. Ryan, are you a beast? Don't you know how to be gentle? His hot palm was cushioning my back. Finally, he gasped and kissed the side of my neck. Claire, I can't hold back anymore. 5 minutes later, I understood what he meant by that remark. Ryan carried me back to the bedroom. I buried my face in the pillow, laughing nonstop. Ryan, how long has it been since you had a woman? Ryan looked at me with a serious face. It's been quite a while. I've been busy with work all these years. I looked at him in surprise, my laughter gradually stopping. After a moment, tears suddenly welled up. I'm sorry, Ryan, I contaminated you. Claire, what are you talking about? Perhaps because I was crying, Ryan seemed a little flustered. He clumsily tried to wipe away my tears, but my tears just wouldn't stop. I shouldn't have messed with you. But you already did. Ryan leaned down, cupped my face, and looked at me intently, his tone surprisingly serious. Claire, since you've messed with me, you have to see it through. On the 7th day of being in Coast Harbor, Kevin, a friend from New York City, suddenly sent me a WeChat me. Sage, Claire, when are you coming back to New York City? No plans to go back for now. Everyone misses you a lot. Josh's birthday is in a couple of days, come back for the party. No, I won't. Can you tell him I'll send a gift back? Okay then, take care of yourself. In the private room, Kevin handed his phone to Ethan. Ethan, look, why don't you call Claire? She'll definitely listen to you. Ethan stared coldly at the few lines on the screen, then suddenly put out his cigarette and stood up. Doesn't matter if she comes back or not. She can die outside for all I care. Ethan, don't be angry. Claire must be feeling down. Yeah, she even took off the ring this time. Looks like she's really hurt. It's also because you and that girl went too far. We've already broken up. What else does she want? Ethan suddenly flared up. Listen up. None of you are to contact her again. Not even if she's dead. Okay, we won't contact her. Don't get angry. You were just in the hospital with a stomach bleed the other day. You only didn't have stomach problems when Claire was around. She's only been gone a few days, and you've worked yourself into this state. With every word his friend said, Ethan's face darkened. Finally, he grabbed his jacket and stormed out, slamming the door. Walking down to the ground floor, the cold wind hit him, but Ethan still felt the anger in his chest wouldn't dissipate. That woman Claire really had guts. 7 days, and not a single call or text from her. Is she serious? Ethan's face was cold as he added Claire's number to his blacklist. You better not come back crying and begging me. Because this time, I absolutely won't go easy on you like before. Ryan's call came just as I finished typing the last line and clicked on formatting. I had started writing magazine columns in college and had achieved some success. So after graduation, I simply became a full-time writer. Thanks to that talent, my income was good. The job was flexible, I could go anywhere with my laptop. So after breaking up, I didn't need to stay in New York City and mope. Claire, what do you want for dinner? Ryan's voice came through clearly, and the afternoon's busyness seemed to melt away instantly. My brain cells were all dead. I'm so tired. You decide. How about barbecue then? I know a place that has amazing smoked brisket. I'm sure you'll love it. When I had barbecue, I always liked to order smoked brisket. But later, Ethan said it looked disgusting, so I rarely had it. Yet, I vaguely remembered that Ryan's diet was always very light. Ryan, you don't have to cater to me like this. I'm not a picky eater anymore. It's also that I suddenly really want to eat it. I remember in college, there was a place in the campus cafeteria that served loaded baked potatoes. The smoked brisket was really tender and fresh. Hearing him talk about these things, I couldn't help but feel tempted. That loaded baked potatoes place was indeed delicious. I ate there for 4 years in college and never got tired of it. Okay then, let's have barbecue. I'll come pick you up now. Okay. Ryan took me to a Chongqing barbecue restaurant that had been open in Coast Harbor for many years. The place was old and not very big, but business was excellent. It was just that Ryan, dressed in his suit and tie, seemed completely out of place in that environment. I watched him carefully wipe the chair for me with a tissue. He then skillfully rinsed the utensils with hot water and poured me juice. For a privileged man like him, he was quite adept at these small, mundane tasks. Ryan, your ex-girlfriend must have trained you well. I couldn't help but remark. Unlike me, after 7 years of on and off, I only experienced being cared for and doted on when Ethan was first pursuing me. Later, in the year or so I lived with Ethan after college graduation, I was practically a live-in caretaker. Ethan had a sensitive stomach. So I learned to cook and make soup. Like a devoted wife, I took care of his meals and daily needs. But now I understood. I loved him so much that I lost myself, forgetting even the principle of loving yourself first before loving others. How could I expect his affection to never fade? While helping me with the food, Ryan looked up at me. Where did you hear I had an ex-girlfriend? I paused. In college, wasn't there always a girl with you? I thought you grew up together, childhood sweethearts. Are you talking about Ashley? Ryan laughed. Growing up together is true, but I never dated her, and I didn't like her. At most, I saw her as a sister. So, you haven't dated all these years? Ryan slowly and methodically rolled up his shirt sleeves. I went on blind dates, had brief contact, but broke it off when it wasn't a good fit. Oh, and nothing after that? I lowered my gaze, thinking of how he was the other night, his first time. It seemed to make his words much more believable. Claire, I won't be like that next time. Ryan's sudden remark left me confused. Won't be like what? He turned his face away, clearing his throat softly. Perhaps it was the steam from the boiling barbecue, but his ears were incredibly red. You'll know later. Ryan scooped the cooked smoked brisket into my bowl. Eat up. It wasn't until he took me back to the hotel, after I showered and he carried me from the bathroom to the bed, that I suddenly understood what he meant by his earlier remark. Only, at the time, I felt like I was falling apart. Ryan. I couldn't help but glare at him, but my eyes were misty, making me look even more alluring. The sound of calling his name was almost a soft moan. It didn't sound like I was truly angry at all. Ryan lowered his head and kissed me gently. Claire, are you comfortable? I shook my head, refusing to answer him. He didn't get annoyed, just kept kissing me softly, over and over. I couldn't take it anymore. Phy. Psychological tears welled up in the corners of my eyes. Ryan. My fingernails dug into his lower back, my voice already filled with the unbearable sound of crying. Claire, tell me now, are you comfortable? Ryan's eyes were also red with restraint, his arm muscles tensed, sweat beading on his forehead. I finally broke down and cried softly, yes, comfortable. As my last bit of consciousness slipped away, Ryan whispered softly in my ear, Claire, if you're comfortable, then never leave me, okay? On the night of Josh's birthday, I had a friend deliver the gift I bought in Coast Harbor to him. Ethan was sitting on the sofa smoking, the bottle of liquor in front of him nearly empty. The gift for Josh was something Ryan and I had chosen together. An antique cufflink from a high-end brand he really liked. These cufflinks are pretty exquisite. Josh's smile was a bit forced. Glancing at Ethan's expression, he didn't dare say more and quickly had his girlfriend put it away. Bring it here. Ethan suddenly spoke. Josh was startled, but didn't dare say anything else and quickly handed the box over. Ethan looked at the pair of cufflinks. The brand logo was discreet, not very noticeable, but Ethan stared at it for quite a while. Put it away. He closed the box and pushed it aside. Josh breathed a sigh of relief and quickly reached for it, but Ethan suddenly picked up the empty bottle in front of him and smashed it violently on the coffee table. Glass shards flew everywhere, and a long gash immediately appeared on his hand. The private room instantly erupted into chaos. What's wrong now? Why are you suddenly so angry, Ethan? That's a bad cut. The bleeding won't stop. We should get to a hospital right away. Ethan stood there, motionless, his face dark and full of hostility. Claire never bought anything from this brand. His voice was very low, yet hoarse and heavy. Josh quickly said with a smile, what's the big deal? Claire probably just picked it out casually. After all, it's not like your birthday. Claire was thinking about what to get you 6 months in advance. Yeah, Ethan, your place in her heart is less than a tenth of all of us brothers combined. Everyone knows how much Claire cared about you, how crazy she was about you. Ethan, hearing this, sneered, cared about me? The noisy crowd inexplicably fell silent, little by little. Ethan, how about I call Claire? Let's deal with the injury first. Josh suddenly got bold and took out his phone, taking a picture of Ethan's torn-up hand. Then he sent it directly to Claire on WeChat. Ethan didn't stop him. Maybe because Josh was too fast, he didn't have time to stop him. The private room suddenly fell silent. About 10 seconds later, Josh's phone suddenly rang. See. I told you Claire cares about you so much. Ethan, look, it's Claire calling, Josh said excitedly. And everyone also noticed that the rage on Ethan's face seemed to have softened slightly. Ethan, you gonna take it? Josh handed over the phone, but Ethan didn't even look at it, turning his face away. Josh chuckled and said happily, I'll take it, hee hee. He specifically put it on speakerphone. When Claire's voice sounded, Ethan's lips instantly tensed up. Josh, what happened? Are you hurt? Oh, no, not me, it's Ethan's hand. You have no idea how bad the cut is, how scary, the bleeding just wouldn't stop. Josh rambled on for a long time, but there was silence on the other end of the phone. Claire, are you listening? How about you just come back? Ethan won't go to the hospital, and he can't keep bleeding like this. Josh, Claire's voice was still as gentle and pleasant. Yeah, go on Claire, I'm listening. Josh replied, winking at Ethan. Don't tell me about his affairs anymore. The smile on Josh's face instantly froze. Claire? And, happy birthday, Josh. Claire, wait, don't hang up Claire. But the sound of the call ending had already rung out clearly. Josh was completely stunned, holding his phone as if it were a hot potato. He really wanted to slap himself senseless. Why did he butt in like that for no reason? What kind of trouble did he just stir up? The private room was deathly quiet. Ethan, however, looked at everyone calmly and smiled. Are you all mute? No one dared to speak. Ethan laughed again. Why the hell is everyone so quiet? Ethan, don't get worked up. The bleeding's getting worse. Ethan, you know Claire's temper best. Sarah, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, suddenly spoke. Actually, I've wanted to say this for a long time. What you did before was too hurtful. Claire is a girl, and girls are most sensitive. Even if you didn't like her anymore, you should have parted ways amicably. Who said I wanted to part ways amicably with her? Ethan's laugh was mocking and chilling. She was with me for 7 years. I would have gotten attached even if I was raising a dog. Sarah's smile was very light. Have you ever thought, how many 7 years does a girl have? What if Claire really never comes back? Impossible. No one noticed the almost imperceptible tremor in Ethan's voice. What in this world is forever impossible? Once a heart is broken, completely cold, how hard is it to warm it up again? Ethan, don't do something you'll regret deeply. After Sarah finished speaking, she didn't linger. She picked up her bag and walked out. Sitting not far away, David's gaze was dark as he watched her, his wife of 2 years. Was she feeling for Claire, sticking up for Claire? Or was she dwelling on her own sorrow, criticizing him, David, for not treating her, his wife, well? David, aren't you going to see Sarah off? David curved his lips and lit a cigarette. Who's your Sarah? My wife is shooting a movie right now. She won't be out of the cast until next month. You're impose. Sybil, a friend, shook his head helplessly. David was non-committal. Sarah and Claire were different. Claire didn't have a difficult family background holding her back. She could earn her own money. If they broke up, her life quality would just decrease a bit. But Sarah had a bottomless pit in her family, the Schwe family, and a brother who was paralyzed. She didn't dare leave him. Even if she had 10 times the courage, she wouldn't dare. As soon as I hung up the phone, Ryan hugged me from behind. He rested his chin on the side of my neck, rubbing gently, but didn't say anything. I couldn't help but smile. What's wrong? Claire, are you going back? Back where? Back to New York City. No plans to go back for now, but maybe in the future. After all, I haven't done anything shameful. Why shouldn't I go back? My family is still there. Ryan didn't say anything again. Only then did I figure out what he was hinting at. Are you asking if I'll get back together with Ethan? Would you? If I said absolutely not, would you believe me? Ryan lowered his eyes, his high nose bridge lightly brushing against the side of my face. I want to believe it. Ryan, I have pride too, and self-respect. Then do you still have feelings for him? I thought seriously for a moment. If I said I had absolutely none left, that wouldn't be realistic, after so many years. Ryan suddenly bit me lightly. Stop talking, Claire. Let me finish. But to say this feeling is reluctance or unwillingness, that's not it either. I gently stroked Ryan's face. Separating from him, I didn't feel much pain or sadness, so perhaps I stopped loving him a long time ago. Perhaps, from the moment he started being distracted in this relationship, I had already prepared myself for a breakup. I won't. Won't be distracted, won't be unfaithful, won't make you cry or feel sad. Ryan held me tighter and tighter, and finally, he kissed me again. Claire, be with me. But I didn't respond to his kiss, and in the end, I gently pushed him away. Ryan, I'm sorry. Why are you saying sorry? He looked down at me, his eyes slightly red. It's my own issue. I avoided his gaze. I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. Then what have these past few days been between us? Ryan gripped my shoulders, his voice trembling. Claire, what do you take me for? I clenched my hands tightly, took a deep breath. Let's just say we were mutually beneficial. If you're willing, we can continue to maintain this kind of relationship. If you meet someone you like, we can end it anytime. What kind of relationship? A tool to satisfy physical needs? You can see it that way too. I refused to look up at him, afraid I wouldn't be able to stop myself from crying. Ryan, I'm so sorry. If being together like this makes you uncomfortable, I'll leave Coast Harbor right away, and I promise I'll never bother you again. Claire. Ryan's eyes were completely red. He released me, slowly stepping back. He seemed to be smiling, but the smile was broken. Claire, you can't do this to me. Ryan. He turned around, picked up his coat, and walked out. I instinctively took a step to follow but stopped. Ryan walked all the way to the door. The moment his hand gripped the handle, he suddenly turned back to look at me. He even gave me a reassuring smile. Sorry, I just need some time alone. I nodded. Okay, I won't bother you. Claire, give me some time. I'll give you my answer. Ryan left. I felt as if all my strength had drained away, and I slowly sat down on the sofa. There was an indescribable sadness in my heart. But I also knew with absolute clarity that I was not capable now of loving someone with that kind of complete, single-minded devotion, of starting a new relationship. I was truly afraid. I was afraid that in the end, we would just grow tired of each other. I was afraid of seeing that person's eyes, going from the initial warmth to indifference and then to cold aversion. I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. Only, I shouldn't have messed with Ryan. If I had known from the start that he liked me, then that night, I definitely wouldn't have let him take me back to the hotel. It was already 3 in the morning when Ryan drove back to the hotel where Claire was staying. He got out of the car but didn't go inside. Instead, he leaned against the car and lit a cigarette. Countless windows were lit up. He couldn't find the one that was Claire's. But knowing she was there, knowing she was in Coast Harbor, in the same city as him, knowing that if he walked in, he could see her in 10 minutes, felt like a kind of joy, a satisfaction. He actually figured it out in less than 2 days. He easily talked himself around. It was normal for Claire not to want to be in a relationship right after ending one like that. It was even more normal for her to be disappointed and resistant towards men, relationships, and even marriage. Maybe he was too eager, shouldn't have pushed her like that. If maintaining their current relationship made her feel relaxed and comfortable, he honestly didn't mind not having a title. What could be more painful than unrequited love? If there was anything worse, it would have been a 1.5 years ago. When he found out Claire and Ethan had started living together. That's when he had genuinely decided to let go. That's why he tried blind dates, tried meeting new people, wanting to move on. But he tried and found it didn't work, so he ended it decisively. No matter how much his family urged him later, he never had that thought again. If Claire hadn't broken up and come to Coast Harbor, if she hadn't asked him to come up that night, maybe he would have been alone his whole life. Ryan put out his cigarette, his gaze gradually becoming calm and determined. But Claire did come to Coast Harbor. And she did speak that night. If he lost the girl he loved after she finally came to him, then Ryan, you wouldn't deserve the happiness you wanted. The night before I was planning to leave Coast Harbor, I met my best friend for drinks. "How are things going with Ryan?" My best friend looked me up and down. "TSK, TSK, TSK, looking at your glowing face, your skin so tender you could pinch water out of it, I can tell Ryan is taking good care of you. I shouldn't hold him back. I don't want to be in a relationship, and I don't want to get married." "Claire, why are you punishing yourself for someone else's mistakes? Besides, that's not fair to Ryan. They say one generation plants the trees for the next to enjoy the shade, and I agree with that logic, but it doesn't make sense for the next person to suffer because the ex created bad karma, right? Ethan was a jerk, but Ryan is a good man you can trust. Why are you biased against Ryan because of Ethan?" "I'm not biased against him, I just haven't gotten over it myself." "You haven't gotten over it. You've just been gaslit by that jerk Ethan for 7 years, and you think you don't deserve true love and happiness." Hearing that, I was startled. Was that it? Because of the pain and confusion caused by the on and off nature of the relationship, the constant worry. Because of the extreme lack of security, making me jump at shadows. So subconsciously, I doubted everyone and the whole world. Convinced myself that I wouldn't receive wholehearted love. But why couldn't I receive sincere love? Those who betray true feelings will swallow 1,000 needles. But for those who have loved sincerely, heaven will open a new window for them. "Darling, do you know how wonderful you are?" My best friend hugged me, shaking me gently. "So beautiful, such a great figure. You could support yourself in college and even supported me too. Pretty, capable, and kind. If I were a man, I'd marry you even if it killed me. You deserve to be loved, Clay. To be cherished by the best man. Not to waste away on a man like Ethan. Trust me, darling, he will regret it. For the rest of his life, he'll never get over losing you. Now, call Ryan immediately. And cancel your flight. Don't think I don't know you were planning to run away again. I expected Ryan to be happy. But I never imagined that a man in his late 20s, a group president who had taken over the family business and achieved remarkable success, would be as happy as a child when he received my call. My best friend looked at me with a smile. "Claire, are you happy?" I nodded. "It seems. I am very happy." "See? You're happy, and Ryan is even happier, so isn't that settled?" My best friend couldn't help but laugh at this point. Now, just thinking about how unhappy Ethan will be in the future makes me ecstatic. Maybe not, he might already have someone new by his side. I smiled faintly. "Iris, let's not talk about him anymore." In that moment, I was even able to say something like that without a ripple of emotion. It felt as if that person truly had nothing to do with me anymore. Ryan's car arrived downstairs just as I was leaving the bar. He stood in the night air, opening his arms to me. I stopped and looked at him. Gotta say, he was really good looking. Everything about him was exactly to my taste. Men can like countless women at once, cheating even before breaking up isn't even a bad point for them. So there was naturally nothing wrong with me dating after breaking up. I walked towards him, and he also took large strides towards me. With people coming and going, Ryan and I kissed as if no one else was there. His heart was beating so fast. I touched the back of his neck. It was burning hot. "Ryan, do you have a fever?" His forehead pressed against mine, breathing softly, his voice low. "Claire, I don't know what's wrong with me. When I touch you, I just get like this." I chuckled softly, stood on my tiptoes, and kissed his chin. "Maybe it'll get better if we touch more?" Ryan's ears turned even redder and hotter. He cupped my face, his gaze on me burning. "Claire, what are we now?" I deliberately teased him. "What do you think? Friends with benefits or boyfriend?" he asked, but then didn't wait for my answer, burying his face in the side of my neck and whispering, "Forget it, don't answer. I don't want to know right now." My hands gently circled his waist, pulling him closer. "You really don't want to know?" "Boyfriend." Ethan's car stopped at an alley entrance. He got out and walked deep into the alley. An old tailor lived there, whose ancestors had been weavers in Jiangnan. He was old now and had closed his shop years ago. But Ethan had ways to persuade the old man. The wedding dress Claire had cut up had been sent to the master tailor half a month ago. It was likely finished being repaired today. As he walked, he thought about what Josh had said the other day. Girls all long to wear a wedding dress and marry the man they loved. He and Claire had been together for 7 years, but he had never thought about proposing. He never even imagined that Claire might have considered proposing to him. He had been a jerk lately, but those women were just passing fancies. He had never been serious about them. Even Madison, the one who had caused Claire to break up and leave, he had only been interested in her for 3 days. After getting to know her, he found her boring, and his mind always went back to Claire. For 7 years of being together, he had felt tired, yes, bored. But some people are like colorless, odorless air. You only realize how important they are when they're gone. These past few days without Claire, he couldn't get enthusiastic about anything. Even when he was out with friends, all he could think about was her. Especially when he drank too much, if Claire were there, she would pretend to be angry and try to stop him. If she Ally couldn't stop him, she would make him soup late at night, let him rest his head on her lap, and rub his temples. Her fingers were soft, and her complaints and worried murmurs were annoying at the time. Now, he missed them terribly. Ethan thought that when Claire came back this time, he would propose to her. He had known for a long time how much Claire wanted to marry him. If he gave her marriage, she would feel secure, and she would forgive him, right? The master tailor's skill was indeed excellent. The wedding dress was repaired to look almost exactly as it had originally. Ethan paid and was leaving when his phone suddenly rang. He was inexplicably nervous until he saw Josh's name flashing on the screen. His frantically beating heart slowly calmed down. Ethan, there's something I thought about, and I think I should tell you. What is it? Don't get upset when you hear it, it might not even be true, could just be rumors. What is it, already? Well, it's about Claire. Forget it, I think it's probably just people spreading rumors. Josh, when did you become so wishy-washy? What's wrong with Claire? Is she coming back to New York City? Ethan. Josh suddenly felt a pang of inexplicable sadness. How did things turn out like this? Why did Claire have to be rumored to be with Ryan of all people? Ryan was the one Ethan had been most at odds with over the years. Especially 2 years ago, when Ethan's company and Ryan's Chongqing Industries fought tooth and nail over a major project. In the end, Ryan had a slight edge and won the project, and Ethan returned defeated. That was the first time he had tasted defeat. Because of this, their already tense relationship had become even more hostile. I'm telling you, don't get angry. Right now, it's just hearsay, there's no concrete evidence. It's just, someone saw Claire in Coast Harbor. Ethan's fingers tightened around his phone, but his voice remained controlled and calm. What about her being in Coast Harbor? She seems to be with Ryan. Of course, it might just be having dinner, nothing else. I understand. Ethan. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. Ethan ended the call. He was carrying the large paper bag containing the wedding dress Claire had bought. He walked step by step through the early winter cold of New York City. He walked all the way to the alley entrance, to his car. Ethan suddenly stopped. A faint, mocking smile slowly appeared on his handsome face. And the next moment, the exquisite paper bag in his hand was thrown into the trash can without hesitation. It was the 2nd month since Claire left. Ethan had sent her a WeChat message. The message was sent successfully, but it sank like a stone. The message was, planning to sell the apartment. What should I do with your clothes? Perhaps he had forgotten that Claire had left him a note telling him he could dispose of everything there as he pleased. Perhaps he was just doing it on purpose, finding an excuse to message her. Maybe what Ethan was thinking was that this was a step he was offering Claire. If she was smart, she would know to take that step down. His temper seemed bad, but actually, he was easily appeased. Claire never replied. The apartment naturally wasn't sold. Claire's clothes and all her belongings were left exactly as they were. As if she hadn't left here at all. Ethan would always come here late at night after social engagements. Then he would lie on Claire's bed, unable to sleep until dawn. And in the 3rd month since Claire left, it was still the same unchanging late night. As the clock neared the number 12, Ethan dialed Claire's number. Claire was a very traditional and well-behaved girl. Although her family background was ordinary, they weren't short on anything, and her parents doted on her. But because she was beautiful from a young age, her elders were very strict with her. It wasn't until the autumn after she graduated college that Claire started living with him. He still remembered that night. She was so nervous her whole body was trembling. Every inch of her skin was flushed a burning red. She was breathtakingly beautiful, and beneath him, she seemed so fragile it made his heart ache. When it was all over, she cried very hard, saying to him over and over, "Ethan, you're not allowed to bully me, you're not allowed to bully me in the future. You have to be good to me, and you have to marry me. Ethan, we'll be together forever, won't we?" But that naive, simple Claire who believed she would be with the man she loved forever, he had lost her a long time ago. So long ago, he could barely remember what expression she had the last time they broke up. Did she nod with a smile, or did her eyes turn red and shed tears? The phone rang for quite a while. Just when he thought she wouldn't answer, the call connected. In that instant, he actually wanted to say, "Claire, come back." But when he opened his mouth, what came out was, "Claire, you've made your point, come back." His utterly foolish and ridiculous words were interrupted by a man's low chuckle. That single laugh felt like a hard, cold piece of ice hitting him. Ethan felt as if his whole body was encased in ice, unable to move. "Mr. Ethan, you can't wait till the next day to sweet-talk a girl, otherwise, someone else will snatch her up." "Ryan?" Ethan's eyes were bloodshot as he gritted out the name. "It's me, Ryan. Where's Claire? Let her take the phone." Ethan's eyes looked as if they were filled with blood, a terrifying red. He clutched his phone tightly, his low roar trembling. "Ryan, if you dare take advantage of the situation." "She can't take it." Ryan lowered his head and gently kissed his girl. A tear still clung to Claire's eyelashes, her mouth pursed. Though her eyes were closed, her face clearly showed she was feeling wronged. His heart softened uncontrollably. He kissed her eyelashes, kissing the tear away. "She's still out cold. She's mad at me. I have to kiss her awake first." "Ryan." Ethan's voice cut off abruptly. Ryan ended the call and turned off his phone. His kiss landed on Claire's slightly swollen lips. "Darling, wake up." I had actually thought about what it would be like to see Ethan again. He came from a privileged background and was arrogant to the core. We had broken up amicably, so if we ever genuinely ran into each other, either he would pretend not to see me, or we could nod and exchange pleasantries. After all, my parents and relatives were all in New York City. Ethan and I also shared some mutual friends. It wasn't possible to have absolutely no contact for a lifetime. But I never expected that kind of privileged man, always held in high regard, would also have such a clumsy and disheveled moment. And at that moment, I was in a particularly good mood because I had slept very well. I was wearing a new blush-colored cashmere dress and had put on beautiful makeup. I felt like a plump, sweet peach. I was linking arms with Ryan, laughing as we walked out through the revolving door. Then, I saw Ethan getting out of his car. I froze for a moment, my steps stopping. Ryan's warm fingers gently took hold of mine. Ethan's shirt was a bit wrinkled, he wasn't wearing a tie. His face showed undisguised weariness, his brow was deeply furrowed, and his eyes were filled with red streaks. People were passing by us, and in the distance, a musical fountain was playing cheerful music. The scene was like a slow-motion movie. Except I wasn't a spectator, but one of the unexpectedly central characters. Perhaps it was Ethan's appearance at that moment that was so surprising. Ryan instinctively shielded me behind him. But Ethan's expression was very calm. He called my name tenderly, just as he had during our passionate phase, "Claire." I stood still. The cheerful music in the background continued to play. But for some reason, I felt an indescribable sadness in my heart. Perhaps it was for the Claire who heard those awful words that night. Perhaps it was for the Claire who was suddenly told she was being broken up with that day. And perhaps it was for the Claire who foolishly loved for 7 years but only took 7 days to completely let go. "Claire, I've come to take you back to New York City." Ethan didn't look at Ryan the entire time. His gaze was fixed on my face, incredibly gentle. I couldn't even remember how long it had been before we broke up since he had looked at me with such eyes. Ethan stopped about a meter in front of me. Claire, we'll get married as soon as we get back. From now on, we'll have a good life, okay? He said it so earnestly, so sincerely that I almost thought that Ethan, who had said he was going to give another girl a title not long ago, was just a figment of my imagination. But it was too late, Ethan. A shattered heart can't be put back together. And the new heart that grew in the swamp was already filled with someone else. I shook my head gently. Ethan, please leave. Claire, I didn't touch Madison. I broke up with her in less than 3 days. The wedding dress you bought, I've had the master tailor repair it. And our matching rings, I've kept them all safe. Claire, I even custom ordered a diamond ring. I'm serious. Ethan's eyes were getting redder and redder, his voice slightly trembling. He held out the exquisite diamond ring box, presenting it to me like a treasure. The yearning and hope in his eyes were incredibly tentative. Looking at him like that, I couldn't deny that I still felt a pang of sadness. But that was all it was, just that bit of sadness. Ethan, I already have a boyfriend. I held Ryan's hand tightly, stepped out from behind him to stand beside him, shoulder to shoulder. The color drained from Ethan's face in an instant. His gaze slowly dropped. Finally, it settled on my hand clasped with Ryan's. On our middle fingers, we wore matching rings. Just like I had with him once. Claire, are you serious? I took a deep breath, turned my head to look at Ryan, and then nodded firmly. Yes, I'm serious. Ethan suddenly let out a low laugh. You think he's serious about you? You think he has much sincerity? 2 years ago, he fought me tooth and nail over a project. And now he's pursuing you. Claire, do you think he has any ulterior motives? Does he dare say, openly and honestly, that he's pursuing you with no intention of competing with me, Ethan? Claire, you're still so naive. All crows in the world are black, all men in the world are the same. You were with me for 7 years, so much happened between us. Do you think Ryan won't mind any of it? And do you think he can truly have a happy ending with you, grow old together? Aren't you afraid that being with him will just be another 7 years like you had with me? The cheerful music had stopped at some point. Ethan's voice also stopped. For a moment, there was silence in my ears. Then came the faint sound of something gently breaking. And after that sound, there was an immense sense of ease and release. See? Even that last bit of sadness was gone. It's just so unfortunate that people always have things they regret in life. Before today, I didn't regret loving Ethan. For better or worse, it was part of my experience. But in this moment, I couldn't help but regret it bitterly. Why, after 7 years, did I fail to realize that Ethan, deep down, had never truly respected me? Ryan, his eyes full of distress, pulled me into his arms. My face was a little pale, but I still smiled and shook my head at him. I'm fine, Ryan. Good girl. Go wait in the car. Leave this to me. I want to be with you. I held his hand tightly, refusing to let go. Ryan looked at me intently for a moment, then suddenly leaned down and kissed me hard. Clay. In everything I do, I, Ryan, have a clear conscience and never regret anything. But right here, right now, I truly regret why I didn't snatch you away from him sooner. What right do you have to fight with me? What kind of man are you, Ryan, taking advantage of the situation? Ethan, you don't deserve Claire's 7 years of love and affection for you at all. Perhaps that sentence completely enraged Ethan. He had never lost control like this before, blurting out insults. And what about you, Ryan? You're with a woman who was with me for 7 years. What right do you have to stand in front of me and spout nonsense? What do you even like about her? Do you purely like Claire, or do you like Claire, the woman who was with me, Ethan? Ryan landed a heavy punch on Ethan's face. And Ethan was not one to take a hit lying down. They traded blows, and soon both had cuts and bruises on their bodies and faces. The security guards rushed over and finally managed to separate them. But the two men still glared at each other fiercely, refusing to back down an inch. Can you stop now? I was so angry and anxious, my voice was tinged with tears. Ethan's face was ashen. Claire, you saw it. Ryan threw the first punch. I'm not letting this go. Yes, he threw the first punch, Mr. Ethan. I'll have Ryan apologize to you. Whatever you want to do about this, we'll cooperate. Claire, he was the one who insulted me first. Ryan immediately protested anxiously. I gently pressed Ryan's hand and spoke calmly again. Mr. Ethan, I apologize on Ryan's behalf first. Claire, are you really defending him like this? Ethan took a slow step forward. He hit me first. Claire. Then what do you want to do about it? Claire, I'm hurt. Ethan pointed to his face. Do you see the cut here? It really hurts. I glanced at it and said calmly, then I'll call an ambulance for you. We'll cover all the expenses. Claire, you know that's not what I want. And tried to reach for me, but I stepped away. Claire. All the strained emotion on Ethan's face shattered. His expression as he looked at me was one of deep sorrow. But in my heart, there truly were no more ripples of emotion. Ryan suddenly winced dramatically. Claire, look, am I going to be disfigured? I quickly turned around. The man in front of me had a cut lip, a swollen area under his eye, and blood on his jaw. He did look quite alarming. I took out a tissue to help him wipe it. Ow. Claire, easy, easy. Ryan exaggeratedly grimaced. Serves you right, I muttered softly, but still gently eased my touch out of concern. You need stitches at the hospital. Then you have to come with me. I'm scared of needles. I couldn't help but glare at him, but I still nodded. Ryan immediately pulled me into a hug. I also need you to kiss me here, it hurts like hell. I slowly stood on my tiptoes and gently kissed the wound. Ethan didn't say anything else. The setting sun stretched his solitary figure long on the ground. Perhaps it was the moment Claire wiped the blood from Ryan's face. Perhaps it was the moment Claire coaxed and kissed Ryan. That he finally realized with stark clarity that Claire truly didn't love him anymore. Sarah's question that day had come true. Claire would never come back to him. He thought he was the one who could easily let go of 7 years of feelings. He thought he was the one in control of this relationship. He thought he was always guaranteed to win. But in this moment, he finally understood. The one who couldn't let go was him, Ethan. Claire was the string holding the kite. With the string broken, the kite had lost its direction and could never find its way home again. I watched Ethan turn and walk towards his car, watching his lonely figure disappear. The evening sun was suddenly swallowed by the horizon. The sky turned a pale rose blue. As Ethan's car gradually drove away, I felt as if those 7 years of Claire's life, from 17 to 24, were disappearing with that car, leaving no trace. I knew that from this day forward, the name Ethan would be like any other ordinary name in the world. I wouldn't deliberately forget it, but I would also never actively think of it again. Claire. Ryan gently pulled me into his embrace. I looked back, tilting my head up at him, smiling softly. Let's go to the hospital. The night Ryan proposed, he drank a lot and held me, saying many, many things. But what I remember, it seemed, were only those 2 simplest sentences. Claire, we will never have a 7 years like that. Claire, we will never break up. Everyone who makes a vow in that moment surely believes it's true. Later, when they break the vow, they wonder how anyone could have believed such a thing. But I was willing to believe Ryan. In fact, I was believing in myself. Believing that I was worthy of love, believing that true sincerity would, just this once, not be betrayed. The day Ryan and I got engaged, I received a gift sent from New York City. It was the wedding dress I had bought. Ethan had had a tailor repair it. There was also a card in the box. The handwriting on it was Ethan's. He said, Claire, I will always be waiting for you. Ryan was beside me and saw the card too. He smiled confidently and gave me a strong kiss on the face. Too bad, I won't give him a chance. But that night, the wedding dress disappeared. And I, for my part, no longer cared about such insignificant matters. In the 3rd year of my marriage to Ryan, we had our daughter, Layla. Shortly after our daughter was born, Ethan sent many valuable gifts. I asked Ryan for his opinion. He was still confident, but quite ungenerous. Our daughter doesn't need these things. Donate them to a charity. Tisk, look at him, at his age, not married, not settled down, just fixated on other people's wives and kids, asking for trouble. I couldn't help but smile, pursing my lips. Why bother with other people's business? Ryan somehow became very happy. He immediately picked me up and spun me around in front of all the housekeepers and nannies. Claire, what you just said was wonderful. Say it again, okay? Say what? Hey, put me down first, I'm getting dizzy. But Ryan didn't let go. He sat down and held me in his arms, kissing me repeatedly. Just that line, why bother with other people's business? I found it amusing, yet also felt a pang of inexplicable tenderness. My best friend had told me secretly before. The 2 years after I graduated college were Ryan's worst years. But after we got together, he never mentioned it to me. He never showed even a hint of negative emotion in front of me. Why bother with other people's business? The most important thing is for us to live our own lives well. Having said what he wanted, I then reached up and looped my arms around his neck. I kissed his slightly red ear and whispered very softly, "Husband, the baby is 2 months old. Let's go to bed early tonight." 27 Ethan's POV. When Claire's daughter was 3 years old, they came back to New York City for visiting family and stayed for several months. She and I had quite a few mutual friends, and they were having gatherings almost every day. I naturally didn't attend. But after every gathering, I couldn't help but ask about her. They said that after getting married, Claire had gone to Paris for 2 years to study. During those 2 years, Ryan tirelessly traveled between Coast Harbor and Paris, without complaint. Later, Claire returned to Coast Harbor and started her own magazine, also serving as editor-in-chief. Ryan supported all her decisions and choices unconditionally. His only dissatisfaction was that she often worked late. She could have easily been a pampered wife, but she wasn't. She became more and more beautiful, but she was more than just beautiful. Her relationship with Ryan grew stronger and stronger. Their daughter was incredibly beautiful, exactly like Claire when she was a child. She never knew that I still kept a photo of her when she was 5 years old in my wallet. New York City was big, but the social circle was small. But Claire and I never ran into each other, not once. Only one midday, I accidentally saw their daughter, Layla, in a buffet restaurant. She was hiding behind a decorative fountain, secretly eating a box of ice cream. Like a cute little squirrel, her cheeks were puffed out. My steps stopped uncontrollably, and I just watched her, unable to tear my eyes away. After a moment, I heard Claire calling her name. She heard it too, her eyes widened in fright, clutching the ice cream box, not knowing what to do. On an impulse, I walked over, crouched down, and asked softly, "Are you scared Mom will find out you're secretly eating ice cream?" She nodded, her large eyes rolling, looking very clever. "Shall Uncle help you hide?" She hesitated a little, looking at me for a while. As if she determined I wasn't a bad person, she nodded again. I picked her up. She was so small, fragrant and soft, just leaning against my chest. Her little hand played with the buttons on my suit, and suddenly she spoke in a milky voice, "Uncle, do you know me?" My throat felt blocked by something, a bitter dryness. And everything in front of my eyes gradually blurred. If time could go back to that year, that night, I wouldn't let any of it happen again. Claire would be my wife. We would get married in New York City, have children. She wouldn't be called Layla. She would be my and Claire's daughter. I tilted my head up, fighting back the tears, and looked down at her with a smile. "Yes, Uncle knows you." "Then do you know my name?" Her soft little hand hugged me. "I'll tell you a secret, my name is Layla. Daddy Ryan and Mommy Claire kissed together, and that's how I was born." "Is that so? Well, that's a very nice name." I kissed her soft little cheek. "Okay, we can't hide for too long, or Mommy will worry." She nodded obediently. "Then I'll have one more bite of ice cream, just one." She took a big bite, and smiled cunningly at me like a little cat. I stroked her hair. "Go find Mommy now." I watched her walk away. Her princess dress was like a blossoming flower, blooming far away in Claire's arms. I didn't look at Claire a second time. I was afraid I would absurdly shed tears in the crowded hall. Claire wouldn't care about anything related to me, but Ryan would definitely find me ridiculous like this. Yes, my first half of life was so absurd, so ridiculous. And for the remaining half, even this absurdity and ridicule had become a mere fantasy.